Today, I'm turning a masterboard into these ATC cards, but this is not the masterboard I started out with. Sometimes you just have to be willing to change directions in the middle of a project. And I'm so glad that I did. I love these. Hi, I'm Christine, the artist behind Arlissa Designs, and I'm happy you're here. Welcome. Hi everyone. Today I have all of my masterboards, and I know I missed Masterboard Monday, but this is going to be a little bit like Masterboard Monday, but we're going to do something with all these masterboards because they're piling up on me. So these are from the doll clothes that I just created, and I still have plenty of this left to make more pieces, but they were large boards and I don't need that much for the dolls. So I'm going to use those, and I'm going to use this, which we've used several times. I guess because I made 2 of them, I have a lot of this rainbow themed masterboard. This one, I never had time to do anything with it, and so we're going to do something with it today. And then this is one of the latest ones that I've done, and I don't know, I might do some ATCs or some tags. Here's another piece, and then this one I never did anything with. So we're going to create ATCs today because I like to pass these out all over the place. So I put all my information on the back, and instead of just handing out a business card, which can sometimes feel really awkward and weird, I like to cut these up and put my artwork on them and pass them out like business cards. I do have business cards, but these are so much easier to pass out because if it's an original piece, people are so happy to get it. So typical ATCs or ACEOs, if you want to sell them, are 2.5 by 3.5. So I'm going to cut all of these and then come back and we'll see what we're going to do with them. They're all going to be different. So here's what I have left. This is all the scraps. So this will go in the Masterboard Monday scrap bin. Unless I might use some of them on these cards. I'm not sure yet, so I'm going to leave them out. But so these are cool and interesting. And I got a lot of them. Then this is, aside from a few scraps, this is the last of the masterboard, the rainbow masterboard. And if you recall, this has become many different things. So I got a bunch of those. I got these from this one of the recent ones. I think these will make some really cool vintage or garden cards. I got a bunch of these. I really love these. These are 2 of my favorite stencils. This one, of course, we've made. This is one that I created using the wood burning tool. If you're interested in that, I have several videos on how to do that. And this is just a flower one that I got on Amazon. And I'll link it below, as well as the video for the stencil making. Here again, I use that flower one. Now this one is craft paper, the paper that you get in the Amazon packaging. So I'll have to glue this on a stronger backing. Unless if I glue enough to make it strong enough, then it's going to cover up the design. So we'll definitely have to put a backing on that. Here's another one that we created. These 3 I created for the doll clothes. So there's lots of those, and I even saved a little bit to make a few tags. And then the last one was the all text collage that I did for Masterboard Monday a couple months back, and have not done anything with it yet. So these are going to be all the ATCs. So let me see. I want to start with something challenging to get it out of the way. So one of the reasons why I like using ATCs instead of business cards is because people throw them away less. If it's just a business card, it just gets lost in the other business cards. I don't have to order them. I do have business cards and I always carry a few, but people like these. And also, here's a good trick. When we're walking around Fort Lauderdale, I'll tuck them into places so that people can find them. And, you know, it doesn't cost me anything, and people really enjoy finding them. I have my social media on the back, so I've gotten some messages. Hey, I found your card. You don't get it very often, but once in a while, and it's really fun. And I do have friends that I'll walk into their house and there on their desk, or, you know, it's nice to walk in and see your artwork that someone has decided that it's nice enough to keep. So I'm going to start with these. Okay, this is what I'm going to do on these. This is a really great trick. So I always take pictures of all of my artwork, even if it's just a little sketch, and I put it into Procreate and play around with it there. And so what I did was I took a bunch of stuff that no, not all of it did I sketch out myself. This is different types of things that like some of them I took photos of and then went over it and turned it into a piece. So I like to take photos and put them in Procreate and create layers and then trace the lines and do my own on top of, I love doing doorways. You'll see a lot of those soon because I've done a lot of them lately. But anyway, so I took a lot of little clips and pieces of artwork that I've done and made it smaller and put it on a grid in Procreate. And then I changed the colors to match and added some paint splotches, and then I went over with a grungy marker, and that's a video for another day because I just play around with that. I don't really know what I'm doing, so it's hard to explain something when you really just don't know what you're doing. But anyway, that if you know Procreate or any other editing program, take pictures of all your art because you can use it later for clip art. I have tons of these little clip art sheets, and I thought these would be cool to just hand tear and put on top of these little cards. So that's what I'm going to do with these. Not to mention the fact that this is a pretty quick way to knock some of these out, except for the tearing, but you could sit in front of the TV and do a lot of this tearing. So I was thinking maybe this one would be good. And I don't know if I should do... I think this is kind of big. I may go and make this a little bit smaller. I think I made some of these a little too large. We'll see. Let me just play around with different ones and see. I love these sunglasses here. So I'm just gonna start tearing these and laying them on these cards. I like to, if you've seen some of these before, I like to lay all these out so that I can see everything and then just place them on different cards to see what I like. And I couldn't decide whether to do just profile pages or tropical or garden. So I did a bunch of different things. So we'll see. So there's some botanical stuff here, which is cool. And I'll probably use these to layer. However, like I said, these are so big that I think I'm going to go take these sheets and print them. So what I'm going to do is take these 2 sheets, put them in the printer, rotate them, and do 2 sheets per page. And then that way I'll get the half size. And then I can use some smaller pieces so it doesn't take up the entire sheet. Oh, I kind of like that. I really like that a lot there. So let me go do that because I want some smaller profile pieces, and then I will come back. Okay, as you can see, here's the original, and here's the one I just printed, taking the 2 sheets and setting my settings on my Epson Create. I guess it's the app that goes with the EcoTank printer. You can change the layout and do 2 pages on one, and it will rotate them for you and print them out like this, which is perfect because I wanted some smaller pieces. You may want to adjust it a little bit more. You could just take it and do 1 sheet and not make them as small as this, but I don't know what I'm creating, so I don't have something specific that I want to do. So by having it print both sheets, and you know, if I need a different size later, I can go back and do it. I kind of like this because it's got a little bit of a sky feel. And already I'm not sure if I love this. So I'm wondering what else I could do. I could paint behind it so that these come out a little bit more noticeable and they don't get sucked into the background and that it looks too busy. I love this. So I might do that. But right now I'm just going to tear and play around. And sometimes in the beginning when you're trying to lay something out and figure out what you're trying to do, it can be so frustrating because nothing looks right. You have to imagine the finished product through the ugly phase. So sometimes in the beginning I get these all laid out and think, oh, what was I thinking? But the best way to start is just to start laying things down. I love this. This is cool. So that's what I'm going to do. And sometimes I don't even end up doing anything close to what I've started. So you may not see these torn pieces at all. And that's okay. It's still a fun process, even if it can get frustrating. But the more frustrating it is sometimes, the happier I am when I end up with a really great piece at the end. I hate covering up the music. That's kind of cool. Maybe. Oh, I like that there. Of course, I got to get some birds in here. Maybe I'll do a bird on this one. Oh, he's the wrong way. So again, if you have printed sheets like this, I know this is obvious, but sometimes I forget things, and when people remind me, it's nice. Go in and flip it and reprint it. Of course, that's not going to work with words, although sometimes when the words are flipped like that, I like it because then, do I want a large one or a small one? I think I want a, well, we'll tear out both. Sometimes when I flip a page and it has words on it, I will glue that into the background because somehow, oops, hitting my lights here. Somehow when you reverse writing, it's really cool in the background and it's less distracting because your brain's not trying to read the word. So don't discount them. So while I work on this, I'd love to know in the comments what you guys did this weekend. We went to the beach, and I have a video on my personal channel. My personal channel, I'm still trying to figure out which way I'm going with it. I think it's turning out to be more of a kind of a creative lifestyle after 50s kind of thing. But I did want to do a little vlog style. I've always liked keeping journals and diaries. I still have my diary from, oh, it's so cringe. Have you ever gone back and read your diary from middle school? Yeah. So I've always liked keeping a diary and telling stories and going back and remembering. I mean, there's so much that you don't remember unless you write it down. You really don't realize how much your brain has forgotten until you start journaling or doing a vlog. So I always tried to do a vlog on YouTube privately as my children were growing up, and the video quality is so bad because I was literally recording on a VHS and then converting it, and it was a process. We're so lucky today, and it's still a process, but it's much easier than it used to be. So anyway, I just started the personal channel because I wanted to, but I also thought it would be cool to share with other people because I realize that there's a lot of people that are, especially if you're in your 50s and you're getting older, and I do have a few friends that are very lonely because their family's gone, and but the good thing about YouTube is you can follow people with the same likes and dislikes. There's somebody on YouTube for everyone. And while you're not personal friends with them, it's nice to find someone on YouTube that you connect with and just kind of follow along and become part of the group. And one thing I've noticed about YouTube is a lot of you comment and it's so nice and encouraging. That's kind of cool with the eye peeking up from behind. There are so many masterboards in here. This was a one from March, from St. Patrick's Day. I see so many little pieces. I cut out, this was just playing around with some new pens and pencils in my sketchbook, and just to see how I can blend them. And instead of just tearing it out and throwing it away, it was just a test page. I chopped it up and it's all in here. There's another piece. So don't throw your, oh look, here's the Batman building in Nashville. Next to music. I love that. Let's not get rid of that. I'm going to keep that in there. Maybe somebody else will notice it. Yeah, so anyway, my point is, it's nice to connect with people, even if they're not personally in your life. And there's a lot of my friends don't enjoy arts and crafts, and they have other interests. So it's hard to find somebody to talk to that has the same interests. So that's why I love this channel. And the other channel is just kind of documenting my life, documenting this YouTube journey. So a lot of stuff kind of goes hand in hand with the videos that I'm posting on here. I did an art room tour. Let me just back up a minute. I accidentally did an art room tour that everyone loved on my personal channel, but that's not what I really intended to do. The video was about getting everything in order, I think, but it did really well because so many people wanted to see an art room. So I do have to go back and do a more formal art room video tour, which I'm going to do here soon. I got some new bins that I'm putting things in, and so I'm going to go back and do that. But everybody really loved that, and I didn't want to put that on this channel because it's more kind of vlog style. But that channel is just kind of where I go on, and yes, you see my face in that one. Sometimes it's nice because I've gotten up and taken care of myself and put some makeup on, and sometimes I just don't have time. So whatever, I don't care. I have a man. He knows what I look like. I'm not trying to find someone new and be my best every single day inside my house. It's just honest, and yeah, sometimes I feel like getting up, or sometimes I'll get up and get dressed because I have somewhere to go later that day. So that was my main concern when I started that channel, is I don't have time to get up and get dressed and, you know, put my makeup on and do my hair and everything every single day. But at 55, I'll be 56 September 11th. Who cares? I don't care. I hope you don't care. So that channel is just somewhere for me to go on and put all the extra stuff. Now, this weekend I did a vlog about Fort Lauderdale and Deerfield Beach. Bob and I went out and went all over the place, bouncing from place to place, and that was fun. And it's not the quality that I want. I would really love to get good at video editing. That's another thing. I like making little movies and stories and stuff like that. So eventually I would like to get really good at that. And currently I am obsessed with Casey Neistat's channel. He's not blogging much anymore, but I believe he did like 800 or 900 vlogs consecutively. I don't know how he did it, because for me, doing one vlog in 2 or 3 days is still a lot of work. And he did it back in the day when there weren't apps. You couldn't really, well, he had started doing it on his phone. So thank goodness we have really good phones nowadays that help, because I took my camera out last week and realized it's an 8 megapixel. So that's not going to work. It's good for certain type of photography, but I'd like to get a new camera eventually. So anyway, if you want a little bit more behind the scenes and you don't mind looking at me with no makeup on, and I was a hot mess this weekend, go over and check that out. Christine Rooks, R-O-O-K-S. I just started it in my name because I started it when YouTube was just beginning. And I'm going to build that channel. Although now, and I did a video over there of this, YouTube just changed their requirements for monetization from 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours to 8,000 watch hours. So that channel is probably not going to make it. It starts in on February 1st. So I definitely don't think I'm going to make it unless I end up making a video that people just love and goes viral. I don't think I'm a viral kind of girl. I don't know. I guess you never know. People seem to always be surprised when their videos take off. Okay, so now what? I really don't know what to do with these. So let me think about that. I think maybe I need to either do some paint underneath here or tear some scrapbook paper. I think I'm going to go look for some scrapbook paper that I can layer under here. Maybe some, I'm not sure. I don't want to cover up the background, but I think that if I use a scrapbook paper the same in all of them, it'll kind of coordinate them and make them look better. So let me go dig through my supplies and see what I can find. Okay, I have decided that I definitely want to do the edges, but instead of doing a brown or black edge, I'm going to go around and do these in blue. And then if I need to make certain sections darker, I can go back with my darker blue and just add little hints of a darker blue. But I haven't used these in a while, and the background is kind of swallowing them up. So I think that's going to help make these stand out a little bit and bring out those blue colors in these cards, since that's my favorite color and it's just something different. Normally I would go for the brown, the sepia, or you know, more of an antique look, but I like blue. I have the blue ink, don't use it often, and so we're going to play around with it and see. Plus it gives these kind like a little bit more of a sky feel in the background. So I've said this before, but one of the reasons I love these ATC cards is, now this one I'm going to probably do on the edge, so we're going to lose some of that, but one of the reasons why I love these is because you can play around and do things that you wouldn't normally do and see how it looks on a smaller piece. And that usually will lead me to do it. See, I love this because it's got a little blue in it, so I think that's going to look cool. But I still think that I need to go, oh, that's a little bit too much. I don't want that corner there. I still think I need to put something underneath these to make them, these are so busy, the backgrounds, that I think it needs something to separate the torn piece from the background. So I'm going to go do the rest of these, and then I think I'm going to find something that coordinates with this blue to put it in the background. But I was saying, this is a great thing to play around with because they're smaller individual pieces, and you not only have just one piece to play around with to see if this works, you've got all of these. So if it doesn't work for all of them, it's probably not going to work on a big piece of art. But if you get a few that you really love, then you might have a direction to go in if you're creating something larger. But you don't have to create something that takes hours and hours and hours and then only to find out it was a bad idea. So even if you're not gonna pass these out, this is a great way to just play around with the stuff that you have and to give you ideas for journal pages. If you do a lot of journaling, sometimes you don't want to just try something new in a good journal. And I have journals that I just play around and do whatever I want in, and I don't worry about it. But I have journals that I really love and I don't want to mess them up. So this is a good way to try one idea many different ways to see how you like it. You could change out the colors, you could change out, you know, lots of different ways to play around with it. So anyway, all right, I'm going to go finish these and go hunting for scrapbook paper that will coordinate. Okay, I found this in this book. I was going to try and use, I love this book, and I'm not sure where I got it. I will see if it's on Amazon and put the link down there. I could use that too, but I wanted something a little more plain. I wanted to use this, but it's so close to the color that I did the edges that it's not going to work out. But I like this because it has more of these creamy colors and matches the this a little bit better. So I think, and it's got a little bit of blue in it, so I think it'll be cool to use under here as a layer to separate the pieces from the background. So what I'm going to do is just start gluing these pieces on here, and I'll have to go back and figure out where everything goes, but I'm going to leave enough room to tear these just around the edge as a border. So that's what I'm going to do. So let me glue all these and I'll show you before I start tearing. Another thing before I do all of these that I want to point out is that I'm just doing regular tacky glue under here because I might want to curl these edges up a little bit when I'm done. So I'm not going to do this like I would normally do with, you know, paintbrush and my brayer. I'm just going to do the middle pieces. And that way I think I can get a little bit more dimension when I get these all glued down, and then I can roll up the edges maybe. Just leave that as an option. So this isn't something that needs to be put down perfectly. So this is how I'm doing it. Okay, so I got all the pieces glued down, and I'm just going to go back and tear them back out again. Now I'm going to try and get this a little closer, and it doesn't matter if you get it perfect, or it's probably a good idea to let this dry a little bit. And I'm just going to hold my thumb in between here, or my finger in between here, so that it doesn't tear too close to the piece next to it. Same here, just wherever I want to tear it, and I'm just going to tear it outside the original tear so I have that layered look. And you don't have to make it, I can make it a little bit larger here if I want. I can always go back and tear that off. But I think that's going to make it easier to see on the background. And I still feel like there needs to be, I don't know, I almost want to take these and put them on here, or maybe here. Oh, look at this. All right, this is what I'm talking about. You never know when you start what you're going to end up with. I really think I might switch to those and figure out something else to do with those, because they're giving me a hard time, and I love that blue on top of this. But we'll see. Right now, the task at hand is getting these all torn out, because that does not change. I like this look. I love this paper. I wish I could remember where I got it. Hopefully they have it on Amazon, because it is so pretty. The whole book is really nice. That's why when you find a collage or a scrapbook paper book that you really love instantly, you should buy all of them. That's my theory. I have gone as far as to make copies of the pages to use, of course, in my own journals, so that I don't have to use the page if there's just a page that I really love. But, you know, it's not the same quality. I do love using the pages right out of the book. And I'm definitely going to be saving these little teeny tiny scraps. We'll be using them somewhere. They will come back again. That's what's cool about these little tiny scraps, is that if you're just doing small pieces like this, those scraps are pretty significant. So I got a little scrap pile going here. I'm going to make this a little bit thinner, just to keep the same plan going throughout. I love this little layered look. So far, at least part of this project is a success. Love it. I love my little birds. In my video of this weekend and what we did and at the beach, there's a clip of, I love crows, first of all, but I got really close to a pelican, and I could tell he or she let me get really, really close. You can't even really tell how close. I could have pet him if I wanted to, but I didn't want to freak him out. You could tell he was getting ready to fly away, but I didn't want to make him leave his perch just because I came up and bothered him, so I walked away. But he was very handsome, or very pretty, whatever he was. He, she. All right, I'm going to go tear these, because how boring is this? Although it's very therapeutic. Sometimes if you're trying to figure something out and you're just doing some kind of repetitive thing. All right, I'll come back and I'll tell you what we'll lay them out on the new cards and see if it's going to be a switch up. And then I chose the hardest ones to start with, and they'll probably be the last ones that I do. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, I decided to change it up because I just love these colors. And I really think these are beautiful. Uh-oh, that one's going to go over a little bit. I can always tear it down a little bit. I've forgotten how large these first ones were. But I really like these cards better. And I think I have to think about what to do with those other ones that we started out with. But I just think these are so pretty. And it's not exactly the same blue. However, there is some of that blue mixed in with this more of an aqua color. So I'm going to lay these out and see. Oh, there were a couple of them that I wanted to do this way. I don't usually, but look at the difference in that. So first, I would have to take off a little bit of that, and I don't like that. So for this one, I'm going to do this way. And then there's a lighthouse in here that I love, and I just didn't want to cut it down. And I think I'm going to do it on maybe this one, because there's not really a lot going on here. And it's still quite big. So I might just tear this down a little bit on the sides. I could just glue it and then tear it after. But what I have to decide now is, do I want to add an extra layer? Now, I really loved her with the heart. There's a tiny little heart here somewhere. I loved this right here. I don't know why, but I just thought it was cool. And then this one goes on the edge somewhere. Let me find a boring spot. Here's one. So I could do that. And then I love how this edge is, so I kind of want to find something. I don't know whether I should do this. That's kind of cool. But I don't know if there's enough color there, so let's play around a bit. I'm always changing direction during these things, and that's okay. It's good to have an open mind when you're working on stuff like this, because if not, so like the other ones, I would be forcing this to happen. And I wanted to create something softer to go on this background, but it just didn't work out well. Oh, I like this, I think. And then I like these that have the two little pieces on them, like that little bird's cute up front. This is another one that might, no, I don't know. I think I'll just leave two sideways. I don't know why. I've heard other people say this before, that we just automatically kind of lean into the vertical. Oh, this kind of looks cool. The vertical style. vertical format. I don't know. Oh, this might be cool. I don't know. I don't like that for sure. How did I have all these on here? Yeah, so sometimes I like to throw in a landscape every now and then. The problem with these is that they all have borders. So, you know, if I did this without the border, it would probably be better. And I don't want to cover up the whole background, but I feel like some of these, you know what? I'm thinking, I think that looks cute with that. I'm thinking some quotes would be really great for these. Do I want two birds? That kind of looks cool. I sort of like it. And I really like these too, but they're kind of large. Maybe if I put her up here and then just kind of... I don't know. I keep playing with this one, but... All right, let me leave these aside. And I think I'm gonna go create some quotes for these, because just like little one-word quotes, maybe. Okay, I was going to finish up and be done for today, but something started happening and I think I really like it. I'm missing one though. Follow the light, there it is. I thought that would be cool to put follow. I could put it there, or let me see. So I printed out these little tags, little short quotes and words in the same colors, from the same color palette. And I don't want them to be straight. I'm trying to tear it, but it's so such a small little sliver of paper on the edge that I don't want it to be straight. So anyway, I decided to print out these words, and I also want to put some string underneath. And originally I was thinking brown, but then I found navy blue. I definitely don't want it to be black, even though there's some black in the hair and the birds and, you know, some of the outlines. I feel like these are soft and neutral, but the navy blue looks so cool. Now, I don't know whether to put this one here. Ooh, that's not what I intended, but maybe that's kind of cool. That'd be cool with a stamp over here. I don't know. I hate doing one different than all the rest. But I really want to put this here. And I like this spot, but I don't want to cut that spot off. I could just print this smaller, but I've already got it done. The dilemmas. I don't want to cover up the lighthouse. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Maybe I'll just print that smaller. I'll print the word smaller and I'll put this one here. There we go. But maybe we could just... I like the quotes on top. Does the shell have to be below? I don't think so. I love when it starts to come together and you can just move things around and play with it. I really like this shell over here. Oh, okay, there we go. Maybe that works. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit. Maybe that works. Okay, I like this one. I don't know what words to put on her yet. Or this. Trust Yourself is on the larger one. It's the same. So anyway, that's what I'm working on now. I'm just trying to figure out where everything goes. I like this process when you take photos of all your artwork, or You know, I mean, I guess you could just use clip art if you have it, but I like creating my own stuff so that I don't have to worry about copyrights. So it's nice to start putting together a little folder full of clip art that you can use in your projects. And now that this is done, I'll have it forever. And if you're not a sketch artist like me, I'm not. I mentioned before, I like to take photos and then use them as a reference underneath the layers in Procreate to just use the outlines and then come in with the texture brushes. And I'll have to do, I'm very awkward on there. So it's probably a video that would be very difficult to watch at this point. That's good, I like that. But I will do that when I get a little bit better with Procreate. But even if you're not really great at sketching, if you put something in underneath your work, and if it's your own photo, it's not copyrighted, so you don't have to worry about using it in something that you're planning to sell. It's a great way to kind of cheat making your own art. Shh, don't tell anybody my secrets. I do practice sketching almost every day. And I do miss sometimes where I go a few days without sketching. And then sometimes a little bit longer. But I try and stay consistent and at least try to draw something every day. Find your joy in art. Okay. Create any, well, geez, that makes perfect sense. Make something or create anyway. But I like find your joy with the paintbrushes. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 without words. Make your mark. Let yourself bloom. Begin again. I guess you could do this because it looks like maybe it could be a sunrise. I don't know. I like that fresh beginning every morning. Especially when you get up early. I got up early this morning. I woke up at 6:30. That's not like me. And I'm not saying I moved very fast, but I was awake. And I like that feeling in the morning when you're drinking your coffee and thinking about all the things you want to accomplish. And you have all day to do it. So I like that. Begin again. I mean, I guess a bird could make his mark, but I don't think that's the kind of mark we want here. Let yourself bloom. What goes with this bird? Grow, shine, create. Let's just do create. Okay. I like these. Now, here's what I was thinking. I'm going to glue everything down except for the words, in most cases, I think. And then I wanted to add a little something. So I don't know if I should add this blue. I think the blue would be really pretty, but I think it might just look like black thread. So then I was thinking about keeping it light, and I think that that would be a really good, safe choice. But I also thought about doing brown, and I think brown would look nice. But look at that. It's a completely different look. When I put the brown over there, then I think I like this. I think I'm going to go with this. So let me know what you think. What would you have done? Or a combination of them. But I think I like this. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit off. And I don't know where my scissors are. And just kind of smush it up. And then put it, I think, underneath. Although this one would be cool with the underneath the heart. I don't know. We'll see. All right, I'm going to play around with this because I'm literally going to be quiet here and play around with it. Yeah, I think that'll be cool. It's just a little something. maybe. All right, I'm going to go glue these down and I'll come back and show you what it looks like with the thread and maybe do the last one for you if I don't forget. Okay, here they are finished. I added the words and I just printed these out on a heavier cardstock and then just put some thread behind it. And I'm glad I went with this lighter thread instead of the dark blue or the brown. So there's one. Let me zoom in a little so you can see them a little better. Stay curious. I left that heart there. I don't know why, but I like that. Breathe. Find your joy. This is one of my favorite ones because I love the paintbrushes. Trust yourself. I actually think this started, I can't remember, but I think this started out as a photo of a few of my paintbrushes. Trust yourself. Follow the light. Seemed appropriate. Begin again. I think I said in the video, I thought this one would be good because it looks like a sunrise or a sunset. Be brave, shine. Choose courage. Walking through the door. And then I did two this way. I kind of like it. I'm used to doing them the other way. I tend to want to do them this way, but I'm glad I did these. I like it. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I know that I started out with these and switched it up, but sometimes you got to be ready to pivot when things aren't working out. So I'll have to think about these for a while and see what I want to do with them. And then I have all of these cards ready to go when I come up with an idea. And we'll do another set another day. I really wanted to get more of them done, but I always start a little ambitious and end up not doing as much as I planned. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next week for Masterboard Monday. Thanks for watching.